Alright, what's up everybody? Back with another edition of Everyday Hoops. Hope you guys are having a good one. Today we're going to be previewing the 2023 NBA Finals that starts tonight between the Nuggets and the Heat. I'm very excited for this series. I'm going to be giving all my X Factors, my predictions, all stuff like that. Thank you guys for the views on the videos and the shorts recently. Really appreciate it. If you like the content, consider subscribing, like, turn notifications, all stuff like that. I really appreciate it. Really helps out a lot. Also, if you haven't checked out any of the look-in series episodes that I do on my channel, I talk about every team after they've been eliminated. There's a playlist on my channel you can go back and watch. I'll even link it at the end of this video. And yeah, I'm not wasting any more of your time. Let's get right into it. So, tonight starts the 2023 NBA Finals. I can't believe we're already here. It is crazy. We have the number 1 seed in the West, the Denver Nuggets, and the number 8 seed in the East, the Miami Heat, the second ever 8 seed to make it to the NBA Finals. Explaining both these teams' journeys real quick. For the Denver Nuggets, the best team in the West, their conference this season, go to the playoffs. They defeat the number 8 seed Minnesota Timberwolves in 5 games. Go to the second round, get through the Suns in 6. Go to the conference finals and beat the Lakers in 4. They sweep them, and now they're in their NBA, the first ever NBA Finals for them. It's been an amazing season for them. They've had great contributions for everybody. Nikola Jokic has looked like is probably taking the title of best player in the league right now. He's just on another level in this playoffs. Jamal Murray looks like playoff Jamal Murray is a real thing. His nickname has been, rewarded. He's been great. They've gotten great contributions from guys like Aaron Gordon, Michael Porter Jr., KCP, Bruce Brown, even like Jeff Green. Like, they've just been so good, and they've really been kind of like the team that hasn't really had a big challenge yet. Which I don't want to disrespect all the other teams that they face, but I feel like the Nuggets haven't really been put in a position of like, oh shoot, we really gotta come out and like they haven't really been. Their backs have never been against the wall before. Like in the first round against Minnesota, they kind of got through that in 5. They were up 3-0. They lost game 4, but then they came out 1 game 5 at home. Against the Suns, they were tied 2-2, but then they just came out game 5 back at home and just played good, and then they won by 30 in game 6. And then, of course, they swept the Lakers, even though every game was close. They pulled out at the end. So the Nuggets haven't really had any, like, crazy desperation mode or anything like that. They've just been taking care of business, which I think is awesome. It just shows how great of a team this has been constructed, with the way they've been playing. Shout out to Coach Michael Malone as well. He's been fantastic. He's an amazing coach. And it's just cool to see the Nuggets in the finals. First time ever we've seen the Nuggets in the finals. Especially after the last few years where they've always been really good, but something holding them back, whether it's experience and then injuries, really held them back. Like the last few years, they've always been in the playoffs. Back in 2019, they lost in the second round to Portland. 2020, the bubble, they went to the conference finals, but they lost to the Lakers, who were the better team that ended up winning the championship. 2021, they had lost in the second round to the Phoenix Suns, ultimately ended up winning, it to the finals. The Suns were the better team. 2022, Michael Porter Jr., Jamal Murray didn't play. Also in 2021, the second round, Jamal Murray didn't play in that series, which might change a little bit of things, but the Suns were still the better team. And then last year, 2022, Jamal Murray, Michael Porter Jr. didn't play, and they got lost in the first round to the eventual champions. So the Nuggets always had either like they lost to the better team or they were injured. And now for the first year, they felt like the better team. They were healthy, and now here they are in the finals. Meanwhile, for the Miami Heat, just one of the craziest underdog stories. They were struggling all year on offense. A lot of injuries, a lot of inconsistency. They didn't know who was playing. Their three-point shooting was bad. They finished as the 7th seed in the regular season. First playing game at home, they lose to the Atlanta Hawks. And now they drop to 1 game away from being out of the playoffs, and they were down 3 points with 3 minutes left in their second playoff game against Chicago. And they somehow pull off that win, make it to the playoffs, defeat the best team in the league, the Bucks, in 5 games. Jimmy Butler puts on just some insane playoff performances. They somehow beat the Bucks, go to the second round against a tough, gritty Knicks team coming off a great series win against Cleveland. They beat them in 6, even when Jimmy Butler didn't have to go crazy. All the guys like Gabe Vincent and Bam really on it. They go to the conference finals against the Celtics, who are looked at as probably the favorites throughout the entire season. And they beat the Celtics in 7. They were up 3-0 on the Celtics. Of course, they did lose 3 in a row, but then they came out and blew out them on their home floor in Game 7. and now they're in the finals. The second ever 8 seed picked to the finals with the 99 Knicks. That was the lockout season when they made all the way to the finals and lost to the Spurs. And now the Heat are trying to follow that path, but of course win this time. And the Heat have just been blowing out everyone's expectations, even without their third leading scorer, Tyler Hero, a 20-point per game scorer that's played maybe 10 minutes in this playoffs. He got hurt in game 1 in the first round, and they said he might be back for game 3. I don't know if he's gonna play or whatever happens, but that'll be a big help for them. And then Victor Oladipo as well, a scoring punch off the bench that had a big knee injury in their first round series as well. So 2 scorers for them on a team that was struggling to score in the regular season get injured, and yet Jimmy Butler, playoff Jimmy, is a real thing. He's just been absolutely insane. One of the greatest playoff runs we've seen by a single player as of recently. Bam's been helping them out, even though lately he hasn't been great the last few games. Bam's had a big impact. Guys like Gabe Vincent, Caleb Martin, who in my opinion should have won Eastern Conference Finals MVP. They've been balling out. Max Strus has provided some energy when they need it. Kyle Lowry has been a really good vet off the bench. Duncan Robinson has revived his career. Duncan Robinson was DMP'd throughout most of the regular season. All of a sudden comes into the playoffs, and now he's like a regular rotational bench dude. Sometimes closes out the games for them. Like, they have guys like Kevin Love, who's been in and out of the lineup, but he's been shooting the ball well. Cody Zeller's even come in. Haywood Highsmith is coming in and giving him solid minutes. Like, this Miami team has just been on a different level compared to what we saw in the regular season. They really came alive in the playoffs, which is funny, because I actually said in a video, I forgot which video it was, maybe it had been a couple ones, but before the playoffs, where I was like, the Miami Heat, I made a video about the Miami Heat, the most odd team in the league. Go check that out if you haven't. But I made a video about the Miami Heat late in the regular season, just before the playoffs, before the play-in and everything, when they were kind of struggling. And I said, this team, Miami team, will be a team that struggles in the regular season, but comes in the playoffs and is competitive. They're a playoff team, not a regular season team. And that's kind of come true. Now, I did not think they would make it to the finals. I didn't say that. But I thought when they get to the playoffs, they're going to be competitive. I didn't think they were even going to win the first round. But I thought if they would have played a team like the Celtics or the Bucks, they would give them some work. It wouldn't be a sweep. It wouldn't be an easy series. But I didn't think they would win those series, and they actually beat both of those teams in this playoff run. It's just insane what they've been doing. But now let's get to the actual matchup. The actual matchup of Nuggets and Heat. Going to be very interesting. Denver gets home court advantage, obviously. The Nuggets have had 11 days off. They haven't played since last Monday, so they've had basically a weekend or some time be off after they swept the Lakers, and then Miami Heat are coming off just 2 days of rest, and literally right after Game 7 against Boston, they flew right to Denver to practice and play. So it was kind of the opposites of a team that just came off a fight of a series and a team that just was resting for a week, So it could be beneficial, and it could be kind of bad in both ways. Beneficial because you get rest, you kind of get to catch your breath a little bit. If you had a little nagging injuries, you get to kind of treat them, be right away. But then also the con is you haven't played in 11 days. It might take a little while to get your groove back. For Miami, it's tough because they have to come right from a 7-game series right into a finals matchup against a really, really good team because they're playing good all year, and they have to travel a little bit of not as much rest. But then also the pro is you just played and you're still right in your groove and you're still, kind of comfortable playing. So yeah, it's pro and con. The matchups, I'm really looking forward to see Bam Adebayo, and I think he's the X factor in this series for me. I feel like he's been the X factor for the entire playoffs for me for Bam, because I feel like when Bam is playing aggressive and Bam is playing really well, the Heat are a very different team. You saw it in this series. The first few games when Bam was playing well, he was attacking, aggressive, getting to the free throw line, blocking shots, making plays for everyone's rebound, just doing everything on the court. The Heat are a very different team. That's just another different facet for this team. When he's not, you see that it's kind of tough because then teams are like, all right, go ahead, Bam. Take it. And Bam's not being aggressive and Bam's not making shots and he's not getting to the free throw line and he's just kind of there. So Bam being aggressive opens up a lot, but he's going to have his hands full on the defensive end. So I won't even be that surprised if Bam doesn't have any crazy 25 and 10 type of big performances, because on defense he's got his hands full with Nikola Jokic. I feel like that's his X factor right there. If he could just be good defensively, I'm not saying hold Jokic to 4 points, because that's no way that's going to happen. But just giving him a typical matchup, Of course, AD was a tough matchup, but then again, they had to switch AD off him at some points to have him roll. Bam is more of a versatile a defender. Bam will will be on the top of the key and be able to guard Jokic if he's trying to go from the wing to the paint. AD is more of like a come to this paint, you're not scoring. You know, Bam's more of like I can get you, I can block your shot, I can get a steal, I can play you on the wing. A lot of that. So Bam's gonna be very big in this series, guarding Jokic, and hopefully he can find a little bit more of his offense because the last few games against Boston, he was really struggling. So hopefully he can find a little bit of offense there. So I think that's a big X factor for Miami, but also their 3-point shooting. Their 3-point shooting is literally what's carried them to this point. In the first round against the Bucks, they were on fire. The second round against the Knicks, it was really struggled, but it was a really like a grit and grind series. Then against Boston, their 3-point shooting was just insane. So now coming to this final series, you're gonna have to keep hitting those shots because this Nuggets team is not a team that it's gonna be so different, and I feel like it's gonna be really tough for Miami because I feel like all the teams they kind of faced, they haven't had that kind of killer instinct dog mentality. You know, the Bucks obviously did, but the Bucks kind of, I mean, Giannis even said it. Giannis was like, we were trying to play for a championship while the Heat were trying to beat us. You know, the Bucks didn't even like take the Heat seriously. Against the Knicks, they had a tough series against the Cavs, but against Miami just outworked them. New York just didn't really, just whatever. Against the Celtics have had this kind of mentality, I feel like all the playoffs long, of like, they weren't really killer instinct mentality. They were kind of just like, you know, we have so much talent, we're just going to beat every team by talent and hitting threes. This Denver team is not like that. This Denver team has that mentality of like, we think we're underdogs, we're going to come out and we're going to show you why we're number one. They have that type of mentality. So I don't know if Miami's going to be able to out-hustle and outwork Denver. They definitely could. Definitely. But I think this is a lot different of a matchup than the teams they've already faced. Denver has that mentality. Like, this is the finals now. We're here. They have guys like Aaron Gordon and KCP, Bruce Brown that aren't afraid to do the dirty work type players. Even like Jamal Murray, guys like them aren't afraid to go in, get those rebounds, get in a defensive stance. You know, so I think that's going to be very tough for Miami. But I think their 3-point shooting and Bam Adebayo is be the X factor. For Denver, I think they have to do the little things, the offensive rebounds and little hustle plays and stuff like that, because that's where Miami thrives. Miami's a team that wants to have a grit and grind 98-97 type game and win those games like that. Denver is not a team like that. Denver's a team that's going to put up 120 points, efficient offense, and beat you like that. You know, so it's two very opposite ends of the spectrum for both these teams. For Denver, I think they're going to have to try not let Miami outwork them. Because Miami's literally got here just by outworking everybody and hitting big shots that matter. You know, getting those little offensive rebounds, forcing those turnovers here and there, getting that little strip at the end of the quarter, you know, like getting that stop at the end of the third. Like little tiny plays like that they make that kind of string together over a course of a game and ultimately end up winning them to win. Denver can't have that happen against Miami. Denver has to do those things. Denver has to be efficient. They have to not turn the ball over. And they're a team usually that doesn't turn the ball over, but especially in this series, because Miami, you know, Miami's going to be in those passing lanes, and Miami's going to be in those defensive stances. So Denver needs to not turn the ball over, and make the extra plays. And then player-wise, I feel like their X factor is going to have to be, I think, as kind of not crazy, but as weird as it kind of sounds, Jamal Murray. Even though he's been fantastic throughout this entire series, the Miami Heat are a tough defensive team and a grimy team. They're going to have to Jamal Murray is going to have to face Jimmy Butler at some point. He's going to have to face guys like Kyle Lowry, Caleb Martin, potentially, guys like that. And I think I could see a world where Miami kind of not shuts down Jamal, but kind of forces Jamal Murray to be taking difficult shots and kind of locks in a little bit on Jamal and being like, all right, Jokic, go ahead. You don't have Jamal now. So I think Jamal Murray has to come out and play the same way that he's been playing this entire playoffs. He's going to have to play some very tough defenders on the perimeter and in the paint as well with Bam. You know, Miami are a great defensive team. And Jamal's got to be able to still find his way to make an impact, still find a way to get his buckets while also finding his teammates and doing stuff like that. I think that's big for Denver for the player X factor as well. But ultimately, I know a lot of people are kind of, you know, maybe not super locked in or super fascinated by this series because they're not big name teams or anything like that. But I think basketball wise, it's going to be a fun, very fun series. These are two teams that play very good basketball. They move the ball, teamwork, play defense, make the hustle plays, do all the things like that. So I think it's going to be a very fun, very competitive series. Two teams that have kind of the same mentality a little bit in terms of like we're underdogs. No one expect us to be here. Let's go out and prove a point type teams. I'm very, very excited. The coaching match is going to be very good because I think these are two of the best coaches in the league. They have great players all around, great role players that really stepped up. Like, this is going to be a very good series, man. I am super, super excited. I cannot wait for tonight for game one. But ultimately, my prediction for this series has gone a little bit, not back and forth, but a little bit like, I don't know. I have Denver winning this series. I want to say 5 games, but then again, I respect the Miami Heat too much and I've doubted the Miami Heat in so many series. Also, I want to say I called Miami beating Boston, by the way. I said in my video, you could check the preview video in the comments. I picked Miami beating Boston, so I want a point for that. But I respect Miami too much. I think Miami's too grit and grind of a team that they're not gonna. I'm gonna say Denver in 5, but not a 5 in like Denver just let Miami win one, but they really just ran through a very tough 5, where the last few minutes of the game it comes down to it, and Denver makes those plays, and Denver wins those games like that. I'm not saying a 5 and like Denver's just like up 3-0. Miami wins game 4, but Denver cruises to a game 5. I mean, it's not gonna be like that type of 5. It's gonna be a very competitive series, kind of like the Lakers series in a way. I feel like where it comes down to the last 3 minutes, and the Nuggets will prevail in those last 3 minutes. You know. But yeah, again, I'm very excited. I don't care who wins. I just want to see fun. I just want to see good basketball, and I think that's what we're really going to get, man. It's going to be crazy. We're going to see either Nikola Jokic or Jimmy Butler win a championship this year. Who would have thought? But yeah, that's it for today. Hope you guys enjoyed. Once again, if you like the content around here, consider subscribing, like, turn on notifications, also like that. Really appreciate it. We upset a lot. Look-in series is linked there. You can watch all the 28 teams that I've done so far. And yeah, I'll see you guys tomorrow.